Hey, everybody. I appreciate you being here on a Wednesday evening, a little bit different timing. We've got Wednesday, 5 o'clock Pacific, which I appreciate. You guys showing up later. I do want to thank my sponsors in Five Star Guitars for being there for me from the beginning. You can get equipment, lessons, repairs all done at Five Star Guitars down in Beaverton, Oregon. If you're not interested in popping into the store, you can go to www.fivestarguitars.com and make sure that Joff Metz takes care of you. He's a small business owner of the year several times over here in Oregon, and I think he'd appreciate knowing that we sent you that way. I also want you guys to go check out abductedbythe80s.com if you haven't already. We did a live virtual concert on Saturday, and it was benefiting the Direct Relief Foundation, a nonprofit organization for the COVID-19 frontline workers. A live concert from A Flock of Seagulls, Wang Chung, New Shoes, Naked Eyes, Animotion, Real Life, The Escape Club, Information Society, a few others, I think. You can get merchandise at www.abductedbythe80s.com. There's an event shirt there where all the proceeds go to that nonprofit, Direct Relief. You can also get a bunch of band merchandise to help support the bands that are currently not gigging right now. So also sign up on their mailing list because they just announced another event coming up, I think in the next week or two, called Six String Salute, which is amazing. I don't even know if I was supposed to announce that yet, but Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, I believe Jennifer Batten, all the biggest guitarists in the world are going to be doing this thing. And again, it's a fundraiser for the frontline workers. So go to www.abductedbythe80s.com, sign up on the mailing list. They'll send you information about that upcoming event, and you'll be entered into some drawings for merchandise from the bands that performed. Now, many, many years ago, this next guest friend of mine and I started doing these gigs together in the Lost 80s Live sort of package dates. I was playing with Animotion at the time, and one of my favorite bands from the 80s, Dramarama, was rocking the stage on a bunch of these gigs. Over time, I have found out that not only is my buddy Mike D the bassist of Dramarama, he was back in the late 80s in The Decline of the Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years, and Lizzy Borden. And then I've gotten to see this guy rock with this incredible band with Rob Halford. So he's got a bunch of rock and roll metal hats, and he's an accomplished chef. He's got culinary businesses and experience in the LA area. He's a hockey aficionado, which you'll find out about in a minute. And more important than any of that, and I look you in the eye when I tell you, this is one of the most kind-hearted men I've ever met in my life. So I'm grateful to get to share my buddy Mike D with you. Mike Davis, thank you for being here, buddy.
Heavy metal. I do not deserve that intro, but thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure to see you. I wish it was backstage somewhere, but I'll take you anywhere I can, man.
It's
and shoot, after watching you this last couple of months, I think I'm gonna call you Kevin Letterman. Man,
yeah, I miss Letterman, man. He's awesome. Yeah, but he's crankier than I am, right? So
no, absolutely.
He's but man, that guy, and he gets, there's a handful of guests that he had that I would kill to have, but you and I have talked a bunch about sports. I mean, you're an NFL fan too, right?
Yeah, it's probably a little lower on my list. Hockey's obviously my number one, but yeah, no, I'm just all sports fan. I'm an LA fan. I love LA.
Yeah, man. All right, so you got the Laker thing happen. Oh, Lakers or Clippers? Which one?
Oh, Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep it real, man. It's Kings, Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, baby.
Oh, and Rams. Yeah. Okay. Well, we could talk about that later, but it's interesting.
I do love the Seahawks.
Really? So, man.
We talked about that. Yeah.
That's
I'm a Pete Carroll fan. A huge Pete Carroll fan.
Man. A friend of mine, Keith Rousseau, he was there at the Halford show with me in Seattle. He's the director of the drum line for the Seahawks. And he's the one that brought Bobby Jarson back up to play drums with the drum line. And Keith he's a metal drummer back in Seattle as well. He's my inside scoop for the Seahawks, right? So I told him, I said, all time on my list of Seahawks now retired, my favorite player that has been with the Hawks is Doug Baldwin, our wide receiver. But I would kill to have Pete Carroll on my show, man. But that dude is so on the go all the time that you'll never, ever, ever get him. And that's what my buddy said too. Good luck. He said, I
I
can't.
believe it. I mean, when he was here at USC, obviously for a long
Yep.
time and built that program up to amazing heights. I, got to be a bigger fan of Pete Carroll than the team. And the way that he coached, the way that he
Yeah.
inspired, like I brought that to my kitchen, like to my guys. Like I said,
Really?
okay, I don't want to be like your typical militarized chef boss.
Yeah.
I want Pete Carroll, chef, to coach this team. So that's how much that guy means to me,
No
And in
kid-
fact, wait, hold on a second. Well, in my sports archive.
Oh, look at this.
Right
Wow.
on, baby.
Did you
Yeah.
actually get that sign from him?
Yeah.
That's
I had
cool, man.
another friend, Jeff, who has worked at the Galen Center, and he knew, again, how much Pete Carroll meant to me.
Wow.
It's one of my prized possessions.
I love that, man. That's a nice surprise. Pete, if you're watching, and I'm sure you are, you talk about the way he coaches, right? So a bunch of my friends that watch this show, they're not sports fans at all. Lots of musicians, right? They're kind of anti-sports, but there is something to be said for the coaching style, right? So Pete Carroll, he bucked the system. He was non-traditional in the way that he would coach a team, because you'd think about somebody being a staunch football coach where he's had to be like hard-lined and militant and sort of drive everything home and sort of lead by intimidation and fear. And what worked for him is that he found like I think he found attributes in each performer that he could help accentuate by encouraging their positive stuff, right? And so that's kind of what I'm all about, man, with the positivity, and I love that he came to the Seahawks and brought that and, won us a Super Bowl. And it's nice to see him coaching in that way. But it's amazing to me that you took that and brought it to your kitchen. So now, as far
Yeah,
as,
there's one story that actually really, really touched me. He was in the middle of a USC practice, and it was not going well. I mean, he just wasn't vibing. You know that when you're at rehearsal, it's just like, what, let's start again tomorrow. He blew the whistle, called it off, and then he's like, follow me. And he ran to the pool and jumped off the high dive, and every member of the team had to jump off, follow him.
Pete Carroll did.
And he said, okay, now let's reset. Let's start again.
Oh my
and
God.
that just endeared me to him.
Wow.
One of the many things, obviously.
So you talked about it being able to take that then to the to the kitchen. So like has the culinary thing been something that you've had for a long, long time?
Yeah, actually, ever since I was a child, my family all cooked. So it was we all got on board with that. The kitchen was a very social place. So we all chopped, we all did our thing. And the first tour to Lizzy Borden, 19, Winnebago, right? Come on, the drill, right?
Yeah.
So no money, traveling from LA all the way to Toronto and back. Mike, I hear you know how to cook. Here's $20. Can you feed us? Like, yeah,
No
dude,
way.
I got it. So I guess I always say that's officially where the culinary work began. Winnebago.
At 19.
Ohio somewhere. Huh?
At 19.
19, yeah.
God,
19,
that's great. Man, all right. So we do need to go back to we have to go back chronologically to this, but I had to bring something up because you talked about Pete Carroll's teaching style.
Yeah.
Just like you and I are doing right now, our conversations, we're having the Zoom thing. One of my favorite things that Pete does is bring humor into his coaching. They've been doing Zoom team meetings, right? Did you happen to hear about his surprise guest that he brought into the team meeting?
No, tell me. I can't wait.
I'm going to share this. All right, hang on. All right, check this out. All right. Make sure you can hear this sound here. Are you able to hear that?
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me it'd be a real drag if I can't share the audio, because this is the best part about it. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. This was completely off the. This wasn't intended to happen, or what intended to share, but I had to share this. Hang on, just one sec here. Oh, it doesn't look like my audio is going to work here. Okay, so I won't continue this, and this is silly. Well, what Pete Carroll did was we hired or we brought Greg Olson from the Panthers in as our tight end, and he had all of the team together in a Zoom meeting, and he said, "All right, guys, we want to welcome Greg Olson in as a veteran tight end. He's got some words of inspiration." Instead of Greg Olson, he brings on Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell was his buddy back from being in USC, and so Will comes in and doesn't really know anything about football, but he's making up all these new plays, and he's just got all the players are rolling in tears. You can find it on YouTube. Maybe I'll share this later, but it's
I will look for that.
It kills me, but well, that was actually this is what was considered dead air on an interview. That was nice. But so okay, so right, so let's go back chronologically. You said you developed the culinary thing. 19, you were playing with Lizzy Borden. So you're an LA guy. You grew up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me about how did the Lizzy Borden thing come about? Were you already playing in bands around LA?
No, actually, I was a local boy. Like
Okay.
Montebello, little San Gabriel Valley had a really good music clique, man. Like Armored Saint was from there.
Wow, great band.
Former Van Halen. Let's not forget those guys. But so it was a very strong. We had a very strong clique, and I was in little bands, garage bands, playing Black Sabbath. Like we all good boys did, and it was. I don't even remember. Jim Ladd, KMAT.
Okay.
Back in the day, that was the station here. We had the Mighty Metal Shop like every Saturday night from like 11 to 12. And my friend and I were at a Dio concert. And I, what? I need to do something. We were talking about like, man, I need to make the jump. I don't want to just keep playing this.
This is 83, you said?
So, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Wow.
And then, so we were listening to the Mighty Metal Shop on the parking lot. And this band Lizzy Borden came on. Man, Rod of Iron, dude, that's a great song. Man, that guy can sing.
Yeah.
Wow. So back then it was the Recycler, and then Music Connection is where you put your ad in when you were a big dog. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put my ad in Music Connection. Screw the Recycler. I'm ready for this. And first call, Lizzy Borden.
No way.
Yeah.
So you didn't even wow. So you just said you're a bassist available, and you get a call from Lizzy Borden saying, "I'm looking for a guy." Yeah. All right. And
looking for the guy.
How did that? So he was an LA guy as well.
Yeah, Northridge. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. And how did that work out? Did you have to audition, or did he just say?
Yeah. Back in the day, where Randy, right?
Yeah.
You gotta know Randy, my partner.
Yeah.
He was with me back then. I said, Randy, we got an audition. So I took my SVT in the back of the truck, loaded, put it in the studio. And I remember the first song we did was Stand Up and Shout from Dio. And then we did, I forgot some Maiden songs, and, I forget, but then they go, hey, man, you want the gig? You got it.
You just auditioned with covers?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And I said, I got to think about it. And dude, the room turned cold.
Nice. Why did you say that?
I just got a little scared. I kind of got a little apprehensive. Like, well, and back then when you were a band, you made a commitment. You weren't playing in 3 or 4 bands. You were in one band.
Yeah.
And so went home and I talked to Donnie Simmons from Stormer out here. He was like kind of my guy that kind of led me through this thing. And he said, dude, they got a show at the Roxy. Do it. At least play the Roxy. Just do it. And then I called him. I said, yeah, I'm in. Like, when's rehearsal? And then that's all she wrote till 1988.
So for 5 years, like 83 to 88, you made it through that whole LA Sunset Strip like phase, man. I mean, all the bands took off. Rat, Guns N' Roses, Guns was broken by then. Yeah, Motley and
they were like 87.
Yep, yeah. So you tell me about that scene. I mean, I'd never really done the Sunset Strip thing. My buddies all did right out of high school, but
it was a little different because we were metal.
Right.
We were metalheads.
Right.
And
it wasn't
like
glammy.
I mentioned, Armored Saint metal, Metallica metal, Slayer metal. We were Metal Blade Records.
Right.
So the other faction of that, say the Warrants, the Poisons, the Rats. Actually, Rat was a little bit more metal. Dante Fox at that point, which turned into Great White.
Okay.
They started kind of going to that direction.
Okay.
And I were like, no, man, we're metal.
Yeah.
It was a very metal.
When did the metal blade when did the metal blade thing happen?
Shoot, that was 84.
Okay, so about a year after you joined the band, when you first signed, no record deal or anything like that. You're just playing.
We were on Metal Massacre, the compilation.
Oh, okay, right on.
Not an official deal. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. We were already, we were kind of in negotiations at that time.
And did you go on the road right away with that band?
It took a while. It took a while. We played a lot of shows. I mean, a lot of shows. And then once we put out the record, then that's when we started to go out.
Okay. Me Against the World is the one that really broke you guys, right? That everybody knew Lizzy Borden at that point.
Yeah, Max Norman produced that record. That was a really, really amazing experience because, Bob Daisley is one of my favorite bass players in the world. And the fact that Max produced Blizzard and Diary of a Madman, and I get to hang out and eat dinner with this guy every night.
Yeah.
It was a treasure. Every day was a treasure with that guy.
Where'd you record it? We
recorded in West Brookfield, Massachusetts, at a farm.
Okay.
Yeah, they put us out there. That was back in the day where you really did your work. They put us out there for 6 weeks. Wow. We did 2 weeks of pre-production with Max. Just ripped our songs apart. That was a lot of work, man. Yeah. That was like old stuff. It was. You had to do your homework, and then 4 weeks of recording.
Wow.
Yeah, he did. It's funny because he didn't like my bass tone.
Really?
He was, it's just not working for me. He goes, what are you doing tomorrow? Because we had a day off. He goes, you want to fly to New York with me? I'm like, fly to New York, Max Gorman? Sure,
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I know a guy at ESP. I'm going to bring you back another bass, something better than you got. No, it's cool, but you know what? And I told him, this is how much of a sports fan I am, Kevin. I told him, but promise me, and this was 1987, the Lakers and Celtics were playing on the final.
Oh, my God.
I said, I have to see the Laker game tomorrow. I mean, okay, promise, though. It's going to be at 10:30 because it's in LA.
You want to go back and see it in person or be able to watch it on TV?
Yeah, we'll see the Laker game. Sure. So.
Were you going to go back and watch it in person?
No, we saw it on TV in New York.
All right, okay.
I said,
right.
I got to watch it at a bar. So, and he's like, whatever, dude, just watch your damn game.
And you hooked up an ESP deal right there, too. Huh?
Yeah.
Nice weekend.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's, sometimes you just got to ride it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of timeline-wise when Me Against the World came out, broke all over MTV. I'm trying to think in relationship to the movie, right? When Decline came out.
Yeah.
God, yeah. I made the mistake. So you met my oldest son, Caleb. Caleb's a killer drummer, hip hop guy now, but like Rush, Neil Peart was his god, right? And I made him go to watch a screening of Decline of Western Civilization a few years ago where Penelope Spheris came in and she did a Q&A and you got to meet her, talk to her and see the movie. And my son afterwards, he was so depressed. He's like, why did you make me watch this, man? Said, this is so depressing. And I said, well, that was real, man. That's what the business is about, But
that's how it really was back then,
Yeah.
I mean, truly, it was a snapshot for sure.
So for you guys, because it's interesting that they had you guys in there. Most of the bands that were really spotlighted in the movie were super glam. I mean, Wasp, Wasp was a crossover, right? Because they had kind of a, and there was pivotal parts with Chris Holmes in there, of course, but Wasp I consider metal. I figured they the same kind of genre as Lizzy with you guys, and
sure, yeah.
But was there? I mean, and there was so much about the image with Lizzy Borden. So it wasn't the glam image.
Very, very. I mean, it was as equal as the musicianship.
Right.
And we took a lot of pride in our musicianship. We were a really good, accomplished band. We rehearsed. I mean, and very surgical. And but then you add that look. It kind of sometimes I thought took away from the work we did in the music. But that's just the way it was going to be. That's Lizzy's thing.
And he's still out doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? Bless that guy, man.
Right.
I get my heart gets so warm when I see them out touring and doing this thing, man. I love those guys to death. They're so cool.
Any of the same members besides Lizzy in the band?
Yeah, Joey, the drummer.
Okay, right on, man.
Liz and Joey,
That you still obviously talk to him now and then, which is
Yeah, I don't talk, obviously don't talk to him much, but we'll shoot a message to each other every now and then. If I see something and your bass player's not playing that right, I'm kidding.
no, you know what? It doesn't surprise me at all that you stay connected, man, because that's one thing about you. You really do have this connection with guys that are not even in your band. But I've mentioned this with a few people on this show that when we all get together, we do these shows together. It's a family thing. It's like a huge family reunion, So when I get to see you guys and the dramas, it's like I get to see my brothers, even if it's the first time in a year, But did you have that kind of camaraderie with your band back even in the day with Lizzie?
Yes and no.
Right.
It was definitely a little bit more. It was definitely more business, but it was kind of a thing like Lizzie and I were really close.
Yeah.
A couple of, it kind of grouped off into like the two guitar players were really close. Liz and I were like super close, and his Joey was kind of the three of us and the two of them. But I mean, we were still close, but it was kind of like that.
I'm sure that it's been asked a million times, but off stage, I've heard he's a really warm-hearted guy too, right? Real like
the best.
Yeah.
We used to back in the day when we were playing together. Lizzie, Joey, and I, and the sound man would go golfing at least twice a week.
Really?
And that's when I was just telling this story the other day because I was teaching my son how to hit the ball. I said the first tee was always it's like we can go play in front of 50,000 people, but going on the first tee at a chorus with all those old men watching you, like, oh, man, shoot, Lizzie and I were like petrified.
Really? God, I had Chris Olivas on yesterday, man. I've never golfed, so I need you guys all to coach me, man. I need some golf lessons,
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you're just out in the middle of nowhere and, hitting the ball, and it's quiet, it's cool. It's very reflective. So I like it.
Wouldn't that be funny if that's the way that we all get back together again on the golf course instead of being on stage, man? But
at this point, whatever it takes,
Yeah, it's true.
But I'm hoping, though. I'm hoping, man. I mean, but like you're talking about camaraderie, the dramas, dude. That's a whole different thing.
We're getting to that because I know.
Yeah, it's even cheap saying like a family because we're almost closer. Those guys are I just love them like nobody's business.
Okay, you know what? We don't even have to wait. Let's just jump right in that. How long have you been playing with Dramarama?
Oh, that's another really good story. Well, my first gig was the day Princess Diana died. So what was that, 97, 86?
Wow, yeah. Wow. So 23 years? 24
years?
Yeah,
that's just awesome because Johnny, when he ever introduces the band, he calls me the new guy. And I just love that.
Yeah. Wow, it's and so how did that gig come about? I mean, you've been playing with other bands in this.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a complicated story if you got a couple of minutes, though.
I'll drink my tea. You tell the story.
It's pretty interesting. It's okay. In the end of 1987, Joe and I, the guitar player for Lizzie, started our own band called Tariff, and then we changed it to Dogma. We played together for over 10 years.
Okay.
And he was I like Randy Rhoads, and I'm Bob Daisley. It couldn't have been a better match. Like we just nailed it. Wrote some great songs together. And then during, I knew he was going to get the Aussie gig eventually. It was just a matter of time, the way they were going through people at that point. And during Osmosis, he got the gig. And I said, and Geezer was the butler. The butler did it. Geezer was the bass player at that time.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, Joe, just promise me one thing. I give you my full blessing to go play with Oz. But when Geezer quits, just give me a shot.
Yeah.
Because I know he's going to. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Sure enough, and at this time, Dean Castronova was playing the drums.
Right.
Okay?
As a ghost drummer, though.
This is the weird one now. This is weird. They fired Dean. Geezer was in London at that time. So they got Randy Castillo back.
Right.
And they said, hey, Mike, Randy needs to rehearse. Be Geezer. I'm like, oh, now's my shot.
Yeah.
Okay. So Geezer comes back. They go up on the road. Geezer quits the band. All right. And they told me while I was rehearsing with him, if anything happens to Geezer, they told me, you're the guy. You're the guy.
God.
And so they were at the end of the first leg of the tour, and Mike Inez just jumped on because Ozzy felt comfortable with him. Just jump on, you can finish the thing. And I saw the last show here, and Mike came up to me himself and said, Davis, congratulations, dude. This has always had your name on it.
Oh my
This has always
God.
had your name on this gig.
No
And I'm
way.
like, you know what? I haven't got the word, but thank you. He said, just be patient. So I'm being patient. And then I hear through the grapevine that Ozzy's having bass auditions. And I called Joe up. I'm going, Joe, what's that about? He goes, nah, it's just a MTV. They just want to line around the building. MTV news. Don't worry about it. No, it was something to worry about because I had to bring my bass.
Wow.
So I walked into the room, and it was half true because those people were there for nothing. But
Yeah.
when I walked into the room, Robert Trujillo was there.
Oh my God.
Oh man! So this is it, Battle of the Bass Players. Okay, I'm cool. So sure enough, me and Robert battled it out, and then they dismissed both of us. And then Joe called me then, and he goes, "Hey, did Sharon call you?" And I said, "No, not yet. Just wait. She will. And I never heard anything. I never heard back from him. And they ended up getting Trujillo.
Oh,
but then
my
Sharon
God.
ended up actually calling me and said, "Hey, man, you deserve this as much as anybody, but we decided to go with Robert." And bro, that broke my heart in a million pieces.
I had no idea. I never.
And in fact, I put the bass away. I go, you know what? And at that time, I was a very avid hockey player.
Yeah.
You were most likely going to find me at a rink more than a gig.
Okay.
I just put the bass down for about 6 months, and I played hockey. That's all I just played 3-4 times a week. So getting back to how I got to meet John, we worked together at the Album Network, which was a trade magazine at the time, and John was an editor. He worked in the alternative department.
This is Easdale. Easy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
And then he called me and said, "Hey, can you come down to my office?" And at that time, I was working in the mailroom. I was a courier, and I thought it was fun to go take something somewhere. And he said, "Hey, I heard you're the hot bass player in this place." And I said, "Nah, I used to be." And then he hands me a stack of cassettes. He goes, "Well, we're going to New Jersey in a couple of weeks, so you better learn bass."
Wow.
And I said, "All right."
That was the audition. Here's the stuff.
That was my audition, yeah.
Oh my God. That doesn't surprise me, man. I just because of the way you are and the way he is, but I'm still kind of floored about. I had no idea about the Ozzy story, and Dino might have some memories too. I mean, Dean's Portland. He lives up here, and we see each other quite a bit. Don't hang as much with COVID, but
Right.
I think during that time, he had stories about being ghost drummer, on the record. It wasn't supposed to be announced that he was doing osmosis, right? That was the
yeah.
And what's the the big song? I'm drawing blank, but I remember like hearing it, thinking, "Oh my God, that's Castronovo playing. It's got to be." There was a rumor that he was playing in the gig, but he couldn't talk about it because that was part of the contract that he had,
Yeah.
But and then
that happened a lot. That happened more than back in that day.
With
like,
Oz,
because I did a few of those sessions.
With Ozzy, or
go like I did with different bands in LA. Like that didn't I did record the tracks. Here's a couple of $1,000. Don't sign this. Don't say anything. I'm just very happy to do it. No problem.
Is that
so
still,
that happened more than I think.
Those NDAs, are they still valid? Are you still unable to talk about some of those records you did?
I don't know, but knowing my luck, I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want you to burn any bridges, man. But but because there was between '88 and so that Aussie stuff was like almost 10 years later, right? So what was happening in the? Oh yeah, you mentioned you had this other band.
That's when we were working on our band, and actually we had a couple of offers. Some deals we were looking at that time, and management was looking at us. I mean, we put a lot of work into that band, but the timing at that time was not good for us because we were doing like heavy metal Jane's Addiction 6-7 minute song kind of thing, and that was when Green Day was really popping and more of a thing. So it was a tough sell, but we stuck. We were sticking to it. That's what we did.
And obviously, but if you weren't like financially sustainable with music, how were you working in the culinary industry then? And what were you doing to make money during those days?
Not much, man. I was doing odd jobs. I kind of started. That's how I started at the Album Network, just working there part time.
Okay.
and then just doing a little this, little, you know, I mean, that's musicians become kind of a, you know, jack of all trades, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, my friend's business needs a guy for 2 weeks, so do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Or and then you can maybe get some guitars, and then, oh, I'm going to sell this one. You know, a bunch of different little tussles. Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you gotta be able to hustle there. You know, Chris and I talked about that a lot yesterday, that all these musicians that go to LA, the day I graduated high school, my best friend split to go to MI, right? And he was going to go to PIT. And I was so bummed because I stayed behind in Montana to go to college. And my parents said, you know what, just make sure you've got kind of a backup. You know, you can go to LA after you get out of college, but just stick around, you know. And my buddy went down there. He was out of the music business, I think, within 3 or 4 years. And it was the most brutal experience for him. He started working that um, Guitar Center right on Sunset. Is it not Sunset? What is it? Which one?
Yeah, Sunset, right?
Is
Yeah,
it
the
Sunset?
main one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Back he found like a prostitute passed away in the garbage in the alleyway behind when he was taking out trash. I remember him calling me saying, "Man, LA is not what I expected," you know. And then he got in like a glam transvestite band called Clean Sleaze, and but his family was very conservative, like born again Christian, and so that he was all in this trouble for being in this like transvestite band. And it just, you know, it was brutal. Everybody that I knew that went to LA that moved down there quit playing music because it was just too tough, you know. Um, and so I loved hearing from my buddies that have grown up in the area that they knew going into this business how tough it was going to be. You learn to hustle from day one. And so, you know, you talked about having the culinary background, or at least, you know, at least Lizzie figured out that you're a good cook. But were you working, you know, like diners and because like the evolution of these sort of boutique burger bars is something that's fairly new, and you had this thing going for a while in this last decade, right?
Yeah, you know, well, that's like when I was working, like I was telling you, working with John at the Album Network. That was a great gig because I actually got promoted in the later, you know, like 96 or 97 to work in the radio syndication department.
Okay.
So that was with Mark Felsot and John Valenzuela. And Mark was a big deal to me because he produced like a lot of great radio shows on KLOS out here that I listened to religiously. So I said, man, I want to work with Mark. You know, I want to work with Mark. And so it was just the greatest job in the world because I was writing articles. I got to interview Tony Iommi, which was like deep. I got to interview Cooper. I got to interview who else? Geezer Butler's son. That was a really cool one too. He had a band named Apartment 28.
Okay.
And so yeah, we travel all over and record live concerts and make shows, and then basically sell them to radio stations. It was the greatest job in the world. But then, you know, it's also kind of odd to live through the transition.
Right.
Because it was, dude, like, you know, the music business was the music business when I started in the early 90s. You know, stars, we're gonna make you a star boy, we're gonna spend some money on you. And to see the internet come in and Napster come in and then, you know, everybody's saying, bros, music business, you got to reinvent. And nobody really listened. And we're still trying to reinvent that. And then obviously Clear Channel bought our company, and then our department was the first casualty. So that's kind of when I went to the culinary thing, was in the early 2000s.
Okay. Yeah, man, you know, if you look at the amount of adversity that people that I've been talking to have had to go through, you know, I think about you, man. I mean, the Aussie story for sure is a you know, a kind of like a gut check, but I know that you've had a bunch of speed bumps along the way, man. And the Dramarama thing coming about. So for those of you that kind of lived under a rock, I mean, Dramarama best known for anything like this hit that was a seminal 80s rock hit. It's such, that band kind of changed, I think, 80s sound in a big way, right? Because there's, you know, my band, right? I mean, the bands like that were synth pop and really new wave were so big at the time. But Dramarama was a rock band with big rock hit, big like choruses, kind of like Cheap Trick. They reminded me of like a, you know, a Cheap Trick 10 years later, you know.
Yeah, well, there was definitely more of a punk thing going on with Drama, more punk rock than more alternative, you know. And that's when like I was familiar with anything, obviously, when I met John. I go, oh wow, man, that's the guy who wrote that song.
Right.
That's crazy. But then once I heard the catalog, I'm like,
Oh,
this is amazing music.
it's
I mean,
true.
it's so deep, you know.
Yeah. Now he's from Jersey, right?
Yeah, Wayne, New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, I know that when you guys go back home, it's like this huge homecoming on the East Coast, right? Because you guys do a whole string of dates in Jersey and Asbury
Well,
Park.
yeah, Peter and Mark and John. I mean, they've known each other since they were kids. So,
Wow.
yeah, going back there, that's one of my favorite trips every year. We play out there like 2-3 times a year, and I have just as good friends now from going back over 20 years there in Jersey that I do here in LA too.
I know because I can't get to hang with you when we're there. That's when you and I normally, man, you and I can hang out and we're going, we'll go grab dinner or whatever backstage. But when you're back east, man, yeah, you guys are flooded with all your homies and I can't get near you, And so, but it's amazing to me to watch that band on stage. I mean, most of my buddies that have seen the band know that when you see the chemistry that happens between you guys, there's all this unspoken stuff, man. It's all in the eyes. It's crazy. And I mentioned this the other day. One of my favorite memories of being on tour last year was when we did the Greek Theater, sold out Greek Theater. And I found this little pocket to climb up on the roof at the Greek. And I watched your set from up on top of the amphitheater, hanging over the edge, barely hanging on. I mean, I easily could have fallen down, into the pit. But I'm up like at least 100 feet. I've got pictures up there watching you guys play and seeing this massive crowd. God, I know I'm getting myself in trouble talking about being up there, but it was so freaking cool. But
I won't say nothing. Don't worry.
Yeah, nobody's listening. Watching this massive crowd and seeing the energy on stage. It's crazy how much energy is going on with that band, because, it looks like you guys are in your 20s racing around.
It's amazing what fun will do.
Yeah.
I mean, because we just have a blast.
You can see it.
It's like, hey, man, we get to hang out and play? Hell yeah, count me in. I mean, Tony and I, we just,
Tony Snow.
We just pound.
Yeah, it's true.
Tony and I have this thing where it's just like, ready, bro, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Tony Snow is one of my favorite drummers out there anywhere. I love when we get out there because he's so subdued, very mellow. He reminds me of like a surfer guy, but he's such a sweetheart, man. I love the dude. Is he an LA guy originally?
Yeah.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think he's more from like the inland. I'm from the San Gabriel Valley, and he's more like a little bit more east of here, but still part of the same clique.
Yeah.
The clique I was talking about earlier with all the San Gabriel Valley musicians and stuff. He's definitely part of
that. I can't wait. And there's rumor. I mean, I just mentioned before we hopped online that there's a rumor that we actually might get to gig again within a month from now. They just announced this show yesterday, or at least they pitched it to all the bands that this drive-in concert looks like it's due east from Newport Beach and towards the reservoir and trying to think of the name of that area, but Los Lobos is playing there this week, and it's a drive-in concert. So you drive in. I think they can get up to 6 people in a car. You pay for your admission. I don't know how many cars they get in there, but it's potentially. I'll probably really get in trouble talking about this, but potentially Berlin, A Flock of Seagulls, Dramarama, Missing Persons, which would be like crazy 4-band bill. Just,
That's our little family, man.
It really is. Guys. I know, man. All of us. It'd be like a family reunion, except I'm trying to figure out playing to a bunch of cars in a drive-in. All the fans are going to be like climbing out the top of their sunroofs and stuff like that. But I hope it happens because July 25th is that date.
Yeah, and then it will be like, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Oh, this is the debut of
color TV at the drive-in.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So let's talk about the new Dramarama record, man. You guys just came out with this thing, and then COVID hit, right?
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, it's been a work in progress for quite a while, and we've all put a lot of work into it, and we had a lot of great support, and behind the scenes with it. And it's taken a long time, but, it reminds me of, listening to a record when I was young. The sequencing, it tells like a story.
Yeah.
It has a flow, and I think it represents the band. Like, I think just a really good way of representing the band, other than seeing us live as well.
That's cool. Yeah,
So
man.
take a little bit of the live home with you.
That, well, yeah, if they can't make that show, I'm sure that they can track down that CD anywhere that you can buy albums, right? Like digital downloads, or is there a Dramarama website we can pitch?
Yeah, no, actually, right now we're selling them pretty much. Well, we're selling the physical copy pretty much exclusively at like mom and pops.
Okay,
Your local record
cool.
store. We're trying to spread the love a little bit. Trying to generate some business for everybody. And then I believe, yeah, you could get a digital copy. I think Amazon or whichever
Sure.
way. I still haven't even bought a record that way, bro. So
Good man.
as weird as that sounds.
Hey, Portland area, go down to Music Millennium and get your copy of Color TV from Dramarama.
There you go.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that they may be pressing vinyl soon too, right? So
I think so. I've heard that. So I mean, I don't know, within the chain how far it's backed up, because the CDs are backed up a little bit because of the stuff going on.
Right. That's crazy, man, how much different the industry is right now, but I think, I never want to speculate about these shows. I was excited that these shows started popping up yesterday. And I'm hopeful, right, that whoever's put these shows together is thinking about the fans and patrons and the health of people, because, you don't want to be putting people at risk right now, as much as we all want to be playing. But I'm just curious, like, how have you been dealing? Because California has been shut down for a bit.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to keep yourself busy, man?
Oh, dude, it's been truthfully a biggest roller coaster. It was a tough spot, because again, mentioning the culinary thing, I had a little minority share in a small cafe over in Monrovia here, a nice, great little city, and we put so much work into that. I mean, I was there about 2 years, and we finally were on the up. Like, bro, we have no bills. We have money in the bank. Like, we're seeing it come. And that was in January.
Oh no!
And then we had to shut down March 23rd.
Oh my God! So, are there phases of your reintroduction right now where some restaurants are able to open?
Yeah, no, actually, we're reopen again, but it's a big space, so they're kind of easing into the food. It's more kind of like a work cafe, like rent a cubicle, get coffee and a Danish kind of thing. I actually just had a long talk with them today, and hopefully, if we can weather through July, I'll be back there, and we'll redo a new menu, and hopefully we can kickstart it again. But right now, I'm just. But again, getting to your original question, dude, the first like 3 weeks of this thing, the anger. And dude, I was so angry, and you guys know me, I'm not a pissed off guy.
Not at all. Yeah, no, this smile is sincere.
Like a lot of people, that I felt it was personal. It's like, wait, you're taking my cafe? You're closing my cafe? You're taking my music? Like, okay, now I'm really mad. Right. And at the same time, my dog was really sick, and anybody who knows me know how much my dog means to me.
Yeah, Koopy.
So it was the worst 2 months ever.
Oh my
God. But he's better now. We had him on a really really good treatment. I have the best vet, the Thunder vet.
Oh man, is Koopy around right now?
Yeah, well, he was just pissed at me talking to you earlier when we were checking. He's like, "Who are you talking to? I'm over here."
Yeah,
you should. He's taking a nap now.
If he comes back in, you'll have to put him on camera.
I definitely will. Yeah, he's the star of the show.
What's the name of the restaurant in Monrovia?
It's called the Myrtle Tree Cafe.
The Myrtle Tree. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really nice spot. And like I said, I'm gonna have another chat with them tomorrow. We're gonna try to get a game plan for kicking it off. But they just kind of wanted to open and at least get some people in there. But unfortunately, we applied for the loan and we got a very, very, very little bit. So if we don't take it over, it's not gonna work.
It's man, it's a tough thing for small business owners all across the board, man. And like one of the jokes that I had, it's not really a joke, but I was going to ask some people in the conversations about what'd you spend your stimulus check on, because some of my friends were joking about blowing it on like rubbing tugs and and just really, but the fact of the matter is a lot of us, man, have food to put on the table for our kid,
Yeah.
and
No, that paid my my May rent. I mean,
yeah,
literally every
that's
penny of that. So
that
yeah.
it's it's really not that funny. As much as I wanted to kind of joke about it, it really,
It is though. I
we
mean, you
have to
gotta.
laugh.
If you don't see humor in things, man, you're gonna end up in a spot you don't want to be.
Totally. Yeah,
And that's
man.
like I said, after the 3 weeks of this, like I was like, you know what? Screw this. I got you got to reset. Got to reboot.
How did
And
you do that? How did you reboot
oh,
perspective?
that's my vet. Let me go back to my vet, Allison. She was buying little prepacked meals for her mom,
Okay.
and she could see, I mean, I was struggling with Kopi, like I was like completely distraught, and this whole thing is taking a, losing the cafe, the
Yeah.
music, taking a toll on me. She goes, "Why don't you just make these for my mom, and I'll pay you for them? And I know your food's better anyway." So I said, "Oh, yeah, I think I'll do that." And then now that's kind of what I'm doing.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my.
I have a little just a, and it's really, it's not to make money because I'm not making money. I'm
Sure.
not. I'm basically just covering expenses, but my head is in a good spot.
That's
I'm working and doing stuff till we open the cafe. So there he is.
yeah. If we can't see him in person, I got to make sure that we share a Kopi dog here. So,
The
and look,
most handsome guy in town, if you ask me.
that face is so hilarious, man. Look at it. And you can see what he says. Please adhere to the stay at home. No one wants to get kicked in the ass by the National Guard because of the frivolous public service announcement. He is a rad dog, man.
Like somebody just rolled up here for his butt rub. So
Is he there?
yeah, but
Uh,
yeah, I'm a little shy right now.
yeah,
Go.
that's all right.
All right. You want to get up here? All right, there you go. Come say hi to Kevin.
Kopi dog.
Hey,
Oh yeah, buddy. Look at that guy. Hello, Kopi. Oh my
hey,
God. Look at oh, that is awesome.
look at that guy.
Oh,
I
kisses.
know.
Oh my God. I have to get him together with my pug, man. My pug doesn't know that he's a pug. He thinks he's a big dog. And he's a brindle. He's got a little bit of Kopi marking. So
Oh, beautiful.
I I I'm grateful that you had that perspective shift, man, because there are a lot of people that I've seen that are kind of coming apart at the seams. People that are really together normally, that are kind of being, the frayed ends of sanity are starting to show. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity where I can catch up with my buddies because it's cathartic. It gives me an opportunity to catch up. But even people that have been watching these that talk about just being able to turn off the news, right? And not think about how difficult the rest of the world is right now. It's not putting your head in the sand, man. I mean, it's a perspective shift, right? And we need it because to me, I think a lot of what happens with social media and the news is that you're kind of getting brainwashed into a lot of negativity, and you got to train yourself to be able to refocus and rely on the things that you have control over. Number one. Number two, um, if you connect and you surround yourself with some positivity, then it's going to manifest into some good positive things, right? And I mean, you guys as a band, you watch that on stage, you see this chemistry. Most bands have gotten so sick of each other over the years that you don't see that kind of feeling on stage. But I would hope that you guys can all lean on each other even during these kind of times where it's tough. I do see you and Tony like that a lot, man. Like backstage, whatever, something goes wrong with catering or, transportation's jacked or whatever, you guys lean on each other and you've got your little community. I'm hopeful that you guys have that, even amongst the band members where you can kind of go, hey, let's commiserate together. Let's celebrate the fact that we put this record out. And even if we're not out touring right now, you might be somewhat soon, right? But I love seeing that family connection. And so I'm going to transition into the show that we played in Buffalo, probably 8, 9 years ago, probably 9 or 10
Yeah.
years ago. We were coming back from Buffalo. I was heading on back to Portland. We had just finished that show out in the park. And I remember flying, we got set, we were seated next to each other, or we talked to each other we talked to people, to let us sit together. And I remember you saying, yeah, man, I'm just going right back again on the road tomorrow. And I thought, oh, so you guys are going to do like a string of dates up the coast? And you said, no, the Halford gig. I said, wait, Halford? Rob Halford? And he said, yeah, dude, I've been doing the Halford gig for like 9, 10 years, something like that. And my mind again was blowing. I'm thinking, how the hell does this guy go from playing a Dramarama gig in Buffalo tonight to 2 days from now playing in Seattle, kicking off a Halford tour? And you said, yeah, you should come up to the show. So I took the train up there and
I
I saw,
remember super well. Oh yeah.
oh my God, man, what a gig.
Yeah.
Halford, that was the first night of your guys' run of
Yeah.
shows, right? And
Yeah. That was quite a year. We started with Ozfest,
oh
and
my,
it was us, Crew, and Ozzy. And actually it started in July. We played in Montreal. We started at the Montreal Metal Fest, and then September we were doing Ozfest, and then we did opened up for Ozzy until when was it? December.
okay.
We were playing, like, we went all through Canada, through the States and everything, and then the Music Box. Is that what the name of the place was in Seattle? Or
Yeah. Oh, it's Showbox.
Showbox, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. That was just one of our shows to get warmed up. Like, let's
Yep.
stop in Seattle, let's do our thing, and then we were in BC the next night or something like that.
Yep.
And, yeah, that was the greatest year of my life. And what made it even just so awesome is that when Halford had breaks, Drama had shows.
Oh,
And
nice.
there was literally like time, like when I was telling you, that happened more than once.
Yeah.
The plane would land, and I go, should I just stay here? Because I got to be back here in the morning.
Right.
And but you talk about like that. I love that. Like, some people would despise it. It's like, I live for it. Like,
Yeah.
I truly live for that. How
Yeah.
much more can I do?
Right.
I dig it. And so it was great because I got to play the Drama, and then I got to play with Halford, and then Drama played back east. And I didn't have anything. I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have nothing. Everything was still on the Halford, gear, Halford cargo, because we were going overseas or something. And I said, hey man, anybody just got a shirt? Yeah, I could use your base, and I'm cool. I got a backpack, just a toothbrush, give me a shirt, I'm good.
Washing your
And
shirt out in the sink after the gig.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
And so that was 2010. That's truly one of the best music years of my life. So
God,
yeah,
man.
that was great.
How did the Halford thing come about?
That's it's another great story.
All right.
Roy Z, the producer extraordinaire. First off, he's one of my best friends, a great human being. I love that guy to death. And we were friends from the 80s, growing up in the metal
Okay.
scene and stuff. So then he transitioned over to producing Halford and producing Bruce Dickinson.
Okay.
And he played with Bruce, but he wasn't playing with Halford. So anyway, after the second record, I think it was Crucible, I was driving home from another job, and phone rang. Like, yo, Mike, Z. I'm like, what up, dude? What's going on? Hey, you play. We still play, right? I'm like, yeah, of course, dude. He goes, hey, you want to play with Halford?
And you said, nah.
And I remember the exact words. I said, where do you want me to be right now?
Right.
And he goes, all right, bro, here's the deal. We all know how you can play. Like, that's not like an issue. Your audition is to meet us at Gordon Biersch in Burbank and have some beers with the band. I said, I'll nail this audition.
Yes, man. All right.
That's what I did.
So before you finish that story, we've talked about this before. Anybody that's out there that's a fledgling musician, I got a bunch of buddies that have asked me, how do you get the gig? How do you keep the gig? How is it that you're getting these phone calls? I will say, first and foremost, if you've got some semblance of chops, that helps, but that's not even half the gig. The half the gig or more is the hang. So your audition, come down to Gordon Biersch and hang with the band and make sure that we can all click, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing too. Nobody wants a diva. Nobody wants a prima donna. I mean, we were, literally in a bus for 6 months together with the crew. It's a tough gig. Again, it's not for everybody.
right.
And the Halford band, Metal Mike, Bobby J, Roy was in the band too at the time. We never had any crosswords ever in like 13 years. We just laughed.
13 years you did that gig?
Yeah. I started in 2003.
Wow. And so Roy calls you, says, you want the gig, come down and hang with us. So that first time, the first meeting, everybody's there, whole band?
Rob wasn't there.
All right. Yeah, Rob.
Just, the band, the manager,
Yep.
just kind of the backstage guys. And then after that, we played together as a band without Rob yet. And it was fucking just heavy, because I was a little different than their last bass player. Like, I lean on it,
Yes,
I mean, I don't kind of fiddle around. I say, no, we're here to get pissed off.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, Davis, Rob's coming down on Sunday. Whoa, you think you're good, right? Remember you said you're better than all the other guys. Well, now's the time.
Did you say that?
To me.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I was like, fuck, dude. Like, no, the metal god is going to be right sitting there, right in front of you.
Yes, sir.
And so we played, I think it was Resurrection.
Oh.
And then we played Golgotha, which is a really super heavy tune.
Yeah.
And then he stopped in the middle of the song. He stood up and he just went. And I said, oh, what the hell happened? What happened? He goes, Mike D, you're fucking violent, man.
Violent.
Welcome to the family.
Oh, my God.
I wanted to scream.
Yes, you should have, man. I'll scream for you. You play bass the way a hockey player plays hockey, man. You do. That's exactly it, man. You just you're driven, and God, what an amazing opportunity though, because I remember you taking me back to the bus, and we were checking out your quarters. One of my favorite things to do is see how people spend their time when they're out on the road, right? So what you've got in your little bunk, what you've got, is keeping everybody else in your communal area together. Right. I remember you saying, the cool thing is, even though Rob's got his other bus, he'll come in and he'll check on us, making sure we don't need anything, And
that's the way, when we play with Halford.
Yep.
Rob, it was a band.
Yeah.
It was a band. It was not, it is Rob Halford. But the way that Rob approached it, we would be at the venue first, do the sound checks, do our thing. And then he would come in. He goes, where's my band? Where's my band? And he'd come in to hug everybody in the dressing room. How you guys doing? How are we feeling? How's everything? Tell me what's going on. And he'd catch up with us. He goes, okay, well, and he'd go to his room and then, do whatever he needs to do. But every gig, he would come and just give us a hug. And how are you feeling? How are we doing, guys? How's everything? And he'd remember, wow, this is happening, and, at home or whatever. Mike, well, how's that situation at home? Are you situated? Are you okay? Like, wow. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. You love hearing
that. That's the kind of guy he is.
The metal god, man. You always hear about his philanthropy and his charity work. He and Alice Cooper both, I know that they've got their stuff in the Christmas pudding thing that they do at Christmas. And Sobel's always talking about, what Alice will do on the road. Not only is he stopping to golf every morning, but I think he and Rob both have a big, huge charity event over Christmas where they donate crazy amount of money. And they really do spend a lot of time dedicating their efforts towards, the less fortunate, which is amazing, man. You'd think at that point they might be a little bit more self-absorbed, but that's just great to hear that he's not that way and that he's takes a vested interest. And Bobby, your drummer, oh my God.
The cyborg? Yeah.
That is what they call him, right?
Yeah, I used to tell him, I said, bro, all you need is a red eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn Sobel was talking about how he and Bobby, you would warm up together, and I pictured that and my mind just blows because it's like, taking two of the most, incredible forces together, and but so what's happening with that band? Is it Halford? I mean, he obviously did 2 years of nonstop.
Well, it kind of got a little ugly. Not with a band, but with the manager at that time, Rob's manager. He was, they had a lot of interest together. They had the Metal God, Peril, Metal God records. Metal, it was kind of a separate, kind of a situation with him. And Halford was part of that.
Okay.
It got really ugly after that tour, and they ended up, lawsuits and separation. And I think Halford kind of got fizzled in that, in that lawsuit. So, and I mean, the band, we'll talk to each other you know, sparingly. I talked to, you know, Roy, like I said,
Yeah.
he's one of my best bros and stuff, but I don't really expect anything to come of that. But when I do see Rob, or like, 'cause I see him at pre-shows after post,
Yeah.
you know, I go, man, I'm ready to go when you are, boss. Let's go.
Yeah.
Laugh and yeah, Mike, you know, you're silly as usual. But yeah, you know, and I'll shoot him a birthday message every year, of course, and he'll say thank you, and hey, boss, I'm ready to go to work.
Yeah.
Mike, you're silly. But I
Yeah.
think what's happening with Priest now, it's like he's, you know, you don't have Glenn and Ken, so I mean, he's probably got to hold down the fort.
Yeah, for sure. I was at this last show that they had here in Portland when Glenn came out and made a special appearance. It was pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
oh, cool.
And it was actually my very first time seeing Priest, believe it or not. That's nuts that, you know, this late in life, that was the first time I've ever got to see GP. But you know, I grew up in Montana, man. Priest never came anywhere near, right? So, but yeah, it blew my mind, man. Scott Travis,
Yeah.
not a slouch either, right? So
No,
the
none whatsoever. No.
God, man. So you had like the color TV record that just came out, and I think there were a handful of dates that you guys were booked on for Lost 80s this year too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of those are sort of being put together as a 2021 plan.
Yeah.
But like the rest of us, I mean, 2020 gigs are primarily just on hold. What is there anything that's still maybe that on the books that you guys might be able to do that people can come out and see you, even if they wear a mask?
Unfortunately, not. You know,
Okay.
unfortunately, everything that we had, like we had like, I wouldn't say, you know, solid all the way through, but from July to October, between Lost 80s and we were going to do some stuff with the Boingo guys
Right.
and our own shows too. They all got, like, you know, just kind of pushed to the till
Yeah,
next
man.
year. So, like, we don't have anything like right now. So when I heard about the one you were talking about, I mean, you know, like you were saying earlier, we do still lean on each other quite a bit. You know, our
Yeah,
group text blows up every day.
that's cool.
You know, and when this came up, we're like, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
You
right. Yeah, we're like Kobe dog. Come on, go. Let's go.
know.
And that's not too far from you, right? So you can actually like make a trek
Oh
up.
yeah,
Well,
that you never know.
we're Flock is supposed to play the night before in Newport Beach too, so we'll be hitting you up if we actually do have the gig. And because I really want to have some face to face with you, you know.
Oh well, you can count on that, man. You know, I mean, if you guys if playing the night before, shoot, I'll just get a spot up there and hang out, man. Make a freaking weekend of it. That would be fantastic.
I would love it, man. I'm considering, you know, doing, you know, sort of a lot like an all access live show from that facility. And once sound check is over, you know, maybe just gathering people together and doing a
That would be awesome, bro. That
yeah.
would be great. I mean, I mean, you know, talk about you for a sec, bro. What you've done during this time. I mean, this is what I love about you. You're just so personable, and that's why we always hang out together backstage. It's like, what's going on, Kevin Metal? Like what's happening? First the hug, and like, yeah, it's good to see you. You
The
know,
hugs, man. I
but
miss the
this right
hugs.
here, this what I've been watching you do your stuff. It's like, man, you really grasped that. You really took it to another. You took your strength, man, and you're running with it, bro. I'm
Thank
always been proud of you. Always been my friend, but even more so now than ever,
you. It was a complete accident. The whole thing
man.
behind,
Most
honestly,
things are, dude.
it really, you know, Gord from Flock and I just did a little shared conversation, you know, on Facebook, and Jennifer Batten reached out to me and she said, you know what, you really need to do this as a podcast. And I was like, come on, man. You know, like I said, will you do an episode with me if I do? And she said, yeah, hell yeah. And I never realized how fulfilling it was for me to be able to have this connection with my buddies, because I miss this when we're out there. As you said, man, I'm hugging everybody, and being there with you guys is as valuable to me as being on stage, you know, and playing. And I'm loving doing this. This is amazing. I didn't expect to do it every day, but it's
You
I
got
think
a lot of friends, Kev. You got a lot of friends. You got to do some stuff, man.
I am blessed, bro, in that way that I've really met amazing people, you know, and I'm so grateful, man. I'm grateful for the opportunities between the touring. Like, really, we talked about Lost 80s Live that Rob Moore has put together as an amazing sort of family unit that we've all developed together. And my band members and I really hit our stride this last year, where we connected so well on the road that I miss that part of my family. And then all the people, all the friends that you make when you're out, just like you said, and you're back east, everybody that's at these shows becomes like an extension of my family, you know? And so this show kind of became a way for me to reconnect my family again. And I was grateful that like Five Star Guitars jumped in right away to help me support, at least to get me some gear. And I think more than anything, it just allows me a chance to do a little bit more of an authentic, sincere, vulnerable conversation. Because a lot of times when you and I are together, if we're backstage, it's loud and chaotic and we're racing from here to there, and we might get 15 minutes to sit down and just to have a catch up, maybe, right? But
yeah, no, you're always getting pulled in a million different directions,
no,
man.
all of us are, man. I mean, it's just the way
So
that
it's like down the hallway. What's up, there?
I
Boom,
know.
how you doing?
That's right.
Hey, what do they got catering today? Ah, yeah, I go that way.
We're skating past each other on the ice, man. It's the same thing, you know.
Yep.
I am grateful, man, and I think one of the things that I really want when I get down there, if I could spend a little more time, Myrtle Tree Cafe, I got to get down there and support a little bit of that. I want to. Not being a huge hockey fan, I'd love to go see a Kings game with you. I think it'd be amazing because I have a feeling that the Mike D that's on stage comes out at those games, and so I want to be I want to witness that, and maybe we'll have to go see a Rams Seahawks game. You know, if
Oh, that would be fantastic, man. I mean, truthfully, I mean, I'm a Rams fan, but I would be torn because, like I said, Pete's my boy.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know,
He's my guy.
I love going to see away games for my Hawks, you know, and more than anything, man, just any chance I get to spend time with you, you know, just like it's a valuable thing. I like I said, make sure that you go. Anybody that's in the LA area, make sure you go check out the Myrtle Tree Cafe. Find Mike Davis, one of many, but really the only Mike Davis that you should be talking to on Facebook. Track him down so you can find out when these guys are playing again. And Mike D, from the bottom of my heart, man, I really value you as a deep and true friend. I love you, man, and I'm so proud of you. If you need that perspective change, you know, just give me a shout, man. Anytime. Doesn't have to be on Zoom, right?
Back at you, my friend. I feel the same exact way, man. I was thrilled when I got your call about doing your show, man, because it was more about just hanging out with you, you know?
As it should be, man. I thank you, and please give the Dramas my best, man. All of those
I will.
guys, I love them. I see Mark Englert every once in a while on Facebook and Tony Snow, you know, but it's not the same without seeing you guys in person. So, you know, when you do the next band virtual call or whatever you do, tell them Heavy Metal says hey. All right.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely.
Thank you, pal. I'm glad to see you safe and healthy, and give Kopi Dog a squeeze. And thank you guys.
Count on that.
Thank you guys so much for
Okay,
hanging
man.
out. I love you, bud. Dramarama, Color TV. Go check it out. All right, buddy. Take care, man.
All right, Ted. Thanks, buddy.
You bet.
Thanks.
Peace.